Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secureteam. We have a few different topics to talk about today. There's a lot of interesting things going on in space and with space news. So the first thing and the most interesting thing that has broken news recently is the fact that we have identified the universe's most eccentric planet so far. So scientists have identified the most eccentric planet ever observed, careening around a star in the flattest orbit ever seen. So this planet has been observed whipping around a star at about 117 light years from Earth. The research published February by a group of researchers from 8 universities and 5 scientific institutions also detected a flash of starlight reflected from the planet's atmosphere as it made its closest orbital approach to its sun. Now, planets in our own solar system orbit the sun in an almost circular fashion, but there are some whose orbits are far more elliptical or eccentric. In nature, and in this planet, called HD 20782, has the most eccentric orbit ever seen. Stephen Kane of San Francisco State University said that, quote, "When we see a planet like this that is in such an eccentric orbit, it can be really hard to try and explain how it got that way. It's kind of like looking at a murder scene, like those people who examine blood spatter patterns on the walls. You know something bad has happened, but you need to figure out what it is and what caused it." So basically, this new planet they found orbits in such a fashion that, for the most part, it's spent moving away, far away from its star. But when it comes back around, the planet gets basically flash boiled because it gets so close to its sun. It actually comes closer to its sun than Mercury does to our sun. And this planet is at around the mass of Jupiter. So that's how big it is, and it's swinging around its star like it's a comet. And the furthest point of its orbit that takes this new planet away from its star, it moves about 2 times as far from its star as Earth lies from our sun. When it passes at its closest phase, it comes closer to its sun than any planet in our solar system dares to venture. Another interesting thing they found about this planet is the flash of starlight detected bouncing from the planet's atmosphere. The reflectivity of a planet, or how bright it appears in the sky, is partly determined by atmospheric composition. Venus and Jupiter, for example, shrouded in icy clouds, are very reflective. But if they were ever to venture closer to the sun, that ice would begin to melt. So this new planet gives scientists the opportunity to study how a planet responds to the flash-frying effect of passing painfully close to a star, but for the briefest passage of time before moving out into the cold reaches of space again. So, what is the likeliest explanation for HD 20782's eccentricity? Well, perhaps there is another planet possibly in the same system with an unstable orbit that caused a collision or near collision, ejecting one planet entirely and sending HD 20782 into its current pattern and orbit. So it's definitely interesting news. I just think it's crazy that we have a planet out there that has an atmosphere that for most of the time is freezing, and then all of a sudden gets flash boiled and is hotter than hell for a brief period of time as it gets close to its sun before swinging back out and freezing over again. So, I'd hate to take a vacation on this planet. So, that's story part 1. Second story that has been making waves through the community is the new data that they've been finding out about Pluto, and how Pluto is much more geographically diverse than mostly all of our other planets in our solar system, and has a very diverse terrain. And by the way, Pluto is a dwarf planet. It was a planet, they downgraded it to a dwarf planet, but nonetheless, it's still a planet. So what they found out about Pluto is the fact that, number 1, Pluto is colder than we think, and we don't know why. The upper atmospheric temperature of the planet has been found to be much colder than any Earth-based studies have previously found. About 70 degrees Fahrenheit colder, actually. Now, that's news to a lot of scientists. No one knows why the atmosphere is colder. The wonders of science have eluded us this time. Fact number 2. Its blood is still pumping. In scientific terms, Pluto is still raging a geological hard-on. And in even more scientific terms, that means it's been active throughout the past 4 billion years. In addition to that, the planet's surface, Sputnik Planum, is clear of any detectable craters, This means it's possibly no more than 10 million years old. Fact number 3. It has a complex diversity. From nitrogen-rich, methane-rich, to water-rich, Pluto is swimming in compositional units. This has led to some intense puzzles regarding Pluto's climate and geologic history. News reports show that no other place in our solar system shows such a variation. Fact number 4. News reports that there have been gravity waves found on the planet. So you can kind of imagine grabbing your cosmic surfboard and hanging 10 on some gravity waves. The result of these waves is a mechanism for forming atmospheric haze layers on the planet. The mechanism involves concentrating the haze particles by atmospheric buoyancy waves, or gravity waves. These waves are formed by the intense winds from the planet's mountainous topography. And fact number 5, it's far less hazardous than we thought. The presence of Pluto's 4 small moons used to raise some concern. People thought that these moons would create some debris hazards in the system, but they were wrong. After the flyby by NASA's New Horizons spacecraft, only a single dust particle in 5 days was spotted. Compared to other parts of the solar system, the density is fairly similar. This shows that the area around the planet is pretty tidy and not surrounded by debris. And so basically all the space around Pluto is virtually empty, with hardly any dust particles even. So yeah, we're learning a lot more about Pluto. I think that Pluto has a definitely very interesting history. And speaking of planets, lastly, we would like to show you an image which is of a surprising picture that in fact shows a planet in its early forming stages, about 450 light years away. So we can see the inner regions of this dusty disk surrounding this young star. And near the center of the large, faraway disk, resembling a celestial mandala, a young planet is in the process of being born, the same way that Earth was, or rather growing up. So at this point, as you're seeing in the image, this cosmic infant isn't much more than a clump of dust, containing between 3 and 8 times more mass than the Earth. The protoplanet is orbiting a young star called HL Tau, about 450 light-years away in the constellation Taurus. It's tucked near the star, where scientists suspect rocky planets are likely to live, and where it's often exceedingly difficult to see any other than dusty starlight. So, there you have it. We have some very interesting space news. We've got planets being formed. We've got new information coming out about planets in our own solar system. We're discovering more about Pluto. And we've also discovered a very eccentric planet that is basically going from an icicle to a flaming hot fireball every time it passes its sun. So it's all very interesting. So now you know, and you have something that you can go tell your friends and sound smarter than they are. So be sure to let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Share, like, and subscribe if you wish. I really appreciate it. And as always, stick around and we'll see you back soon. Stay safe, guys. Thank you.